coaches, our teachers, a lot of busy people, but we're still going to have a full show for you, talking a lot about our area schools. My first guest, as always, for the Hy-Vee Homestretch, my good friend. It's been a while.
It has
Cleet
been.
Hjorth. Cleet, how's it going?
Awesome. How you doing, Emery?
Doing fantastic. Last time we talked, we had a lot of August specials. Before we get back to those and kind of hit on those last full week of August, let's go ahead and talk about what we have for dinner tonight, because as I walked in, it was really hard not to walk over to the grill and just try to take one away from Ben himself. What do we have on the menu tonight?
Well, tonight we've had people lining up for a great big pork steak. It starts out 10 ounces, jumbo baked potato, green beans or corn, and a dinner roll for only $5. Plus, you can add a slice of pie for $1. So it's an awesome deal.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to beat that. And like I said, it's being cooked to perfection tonight. You're not going to find a better deal in town either. So that is on the menu tonight. That is going to be served until 7 p.m. this evening here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. While you're around, after you finish dinner, a lot of cool deals that you have coming up for the rest of this final week of August. What are some of your August deals?
Well, we've got about a week left on our incredible August deals. So to start it off, we've got whole boneless pork loins for $1.39 a pound. We have 2.5-pound bags of frozen chicken breast for $2.99. Bounty Basic or Charmin Essentials bath tissue, they're just $2.99 as well. Plus we have Powerade, great for kids in sports. They're 48 cents a bottle. We have fresh cantaloupe for 88 cents. Doritos, $1.48 a bag, and then Natural Light 30 packs for just $13.99. So those are our August specials that are good for about another week.
And if there's nothing in there that makes you feel like you need to come out here and spend a little time shopping, you probably don't have much taste at anything, I would imagine.
There's something for everybody in there.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not one thing, it's another, and that's just kind of how things go here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, and that includes, obviously, what we don't talk about a whole lot is just the fact that you can come in and enjoy, especially on the weekends, swipe that card, that Hy-Vee Plus Perks card, and be able to save on your gas as well. Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, Cleet. It's the first week of school for everyone in the state of Iowa, and some people handle it differently than others. You're a busy guy already, but what's the first week of school like for Cleet Hjorth?
Well, it's getting busier around our house. So my oldest son just started first grade yesterday, so it's kind of a big milestone. I was telling my wife, if you really think about it, he's 1/3 of the way to moving out of the house, which I don't know. I don't want to sound excited. There's good that they're going to grow up someday, but at the same time, that's my baby growing up. So, it just seems like just yesterday he was born, and now he's got a little brother that's starting preschool too. So things are getting busy for us.
You're going to have a couple of heads in class now. So with that going on and you're trying to manage that, there's still an awful lot happening here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. So when the beginning of school comes, everybody starts looking forward to a few things. The first of which is just a couple months away, and that's Halloween. Thanksgiving a few weeks after that. Christmas a few weeks after that. New Year's Day a week after that. Valentine's Day a few weeks after that. It's kind of hits you all at once over the next few months. So as a store director here at a very busy store, a store that a lot of people come and enjoy these Thursday meals and throughout the week come and shop, what's it like kind of juggling all this and how do you stay ahead of the curve as everybody's looking for that next thing in line after the school year starts?
We plan and prepare, so it's officially the holiday season for us. As a matter of fact, just yesterday we went to Des Moines to a big meeting, and it was kind of a big gathering of all our vendor partners, and they came loaded with great deals for us to buy so we can pass on savings to all of our customers. So I took a team up there and we found deals galore that we loaded up on, and so I spent a little bit of time today kind of organizing everything we bought and then figuring out where I'm going to put it when it gets here, because we're going to have a full back room with some incredible savings all throughout the holiday season.
And that, folks, is from right now until the middle of February. So there's going to be an awful lot for people to pay attention to, and you're just going to have to keep coming in and checking us out here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Before we get you out of here, Cleet, next Thursday we'll have another show. Next Thursday we're going to have another meal. What's going to be on the menu next week?
Well, it's back by popular demand. We're going right back to the 8-ounce New York strip with a big baked potato. Yeah, try saying that fast, huh? And then the corn, green beans, and some Texas toast to go with it. So only $8, dine in or carry out. It's one of our most popular deals by a mile. So everybody stop on back next Thursday for a great steak dinner. And if you haven't ate yet tonight, we got pork steak tonight. Still come in and take advantage of that. Really
kind of ridiculous how high quality meats we get for this kind of price that we have here. each and every Thursday at Hy-Vee. Cleet, as always, fun to see you again, and
Pleasure's mine.
can't wait to see you again next week.
All right. Have a good one, Emery.
All right, that is Cleet Yorth, the store director here at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. As mentioned, a lot of the coaches are teachers. Not a lot of people available this week for the first week of the school year and also the first week of the football season. Volleyball also going on as well throughout the area. But we will be talking Oskaloosa football with my color commentator who is going to be joining me on the broadcast each and every Friday night for Oskaloosa football, Doug DeCock. He is going to be joining me next. And later on in the show, we'll talk Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont sports with their activities director, Kurt Johnston. That'll be later on the Hy-Vee homestretch. But we will take our first break. When we come back, we'll have Doug on right after this. Oski football talk on the way right here on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Save big this week at Hy-Vee. Pepsi products, 3 12-packs, just $8.88. Gatorade or Propel 12-packs, just $2.99. Hy-Vee potato chips, only $1. Hy-Vee split chicken breasts, just 99 cents a pound. And buy 5 General Mills cereals, get $5 off. For these great deals and hundreds more, check out HyVeeDeals.com.
Welcome back. We are live at your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Still have plenty of time to grab that fantastic $5 dinner here until 7 p.m. And we'll have this show on until about 7 p.m. tonight on the No Coast Network. My first guest tonight, my color commentator, my partner in crime for Oskaloosa football in 2017, Doug DeCock. Doug, thanks so much for joining us here on Hy-Vee Homestretch.
Nice to see you, Emery. It's one day away here, man. It was nice having a little scrimmage last week, but that didn't quite satisfy the thirst for a real game. So we're ready to go.
All right, so when we talk about this, for the most part, Oskaloosa football feels really good about where they finished up in 2016. So before we talk about this year's team, from your vantage point, now we did call a couple of games together, but I had different assignments. You were on the Oskaloosa football game, so you got to sit in that seat, watch that team develop. You knew the last couple of years before that were kind of tough in terms of wins and losses, but a new district, a new head coach, kind of different attitude about the ball club, taking all of those factors into account, a very nice 7-3 season and a playoff berth with a very different and tougher playoff format just to qualify for the playoffs. What did you see from the Indians and the growth they had under first-year head coach Jake Jenkins last year?
Well, I honestly, Emery, I was amazed. When you install a whole new system, you're signaling and everything, running a lot of passing stuff and different formations. We really did not have a lot of penalties on the offensive side of the ball, which showed great discipline, a great job by the coaches, and getting those guys prepared for that. We went into last year with tons of question marks. I mean, when you put in everything new, you've got new coordinators, new head coach, it's just like, what's this going to be like? So from that aspect, we've got a little bit of question marks this year, but the way we grew last year, we could tell right out of the box against Pella last year that we played them fairly tough, hung in there, and play here and play there. That game could have came down the fourth quarter. So this year's has a little different feel to it.
That's exciting for the community. You look at the schedule again this year, it's the exact same 9 schools lined up, which makes you feel like Oskaloosa might be in line for a very similar record, but it's not that simple. You have to go to all of the opposite places that you played these teams. So some of the tough games that you might have had at home, now you have to go face them on the road. That Washington game is the first thing that comes to my mind of how what very well could be a much more difficult game in 2017 than it was, and it was still a difficult game in 2016. So it may not be exactly the same, but everything gets going against the arch rival, the nemesis, the Class 3A defending state champs for the last 3 years, 41-game winning streak, 51-1 over 4 years. Oski hasn't beaten them since 2006. The list goes on and on about how big this game is because Oskaloosa, I think more now than any time in the last 5 years, feels like this could be a year. Not only can they compete with Pella, but they very well could beat Pella. And as a bonus, it is at the Lacey Recreation Complex to start the 2017 football season. It's going to be a huge atmosphere. I know you're looking forward to it. How much do you think the community should be looking forward to this game, knowing what is all on the line here, and Oskaloosa getting the first crack at the state champions here in 2017?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of confidence out there at Oskaloosa. I was at practice last night. The community, from what I'm hearing, is really revved up for this. They've been promoting it, trying to set a attendance record tomorrow night. Should be an electric atmosphere. I've watched these kids, senior class, grow up. My two kids are in that class, so I've watched them grow up playing Pella each year from 7th grade on, and we've had success against them. Now, one year we beat them with a hook and ladder with no time left, but we still was able to beat them. So they are confident that they can do it. Pella's junior class is very good. Oskaloosa's got some younger guys that are going to have to step up this year. We got we're going to play a lot of seniors, but we also got quite a few underclassmen that are going to have to move in that have no varsity experience. But there's a lot of confidence out there, and the practices have been going well.
One of the more exciting things about the beginning of a season is just who are the new names that you're going to see on the field, and Pella has a lot of them. I've had a chance to talk to Coach Jay McKinstry. First of all, let me say this. Coach Jay McKinstry is one of the nicest guys I've had a chance to talk to, and he's a class act for the Pella Little Dutch. And he just told me basically how it is. You're not going to recognize much of what we have going out there this season. And they had a similar story last year, but those athletes, we kind of could figure out that they were going to be right there from the guys that they replaced from the previous 2 state championship games. Coach McKinstry, of course, as most coaches will, downplays the whole streak thing, but says his guys are still looking forward to using this not only as a game they'd like to win, but it's a game they want to improve because they're really geared in for that district schedule. Tough game against Oski, tough game against Dallas Center Grimes in the non-district to get them going. From a Pella perspective here, when there's going to be, I would imagine, a pretty sizable crowd coming to cheer on the Little Dutch at Lacey tomorrow night, when you're a Pella supporter and you're looking at this ball club, what do you think the mindset should be from the community, knowing that this isn't the same team, but you're still expecting this team to go out there and provide some level of excellence?
Well, I think from the community standpoint or a fan standpoint, you're somewhat realistic in saying, hey, how long is this going to really go on? I mean, they've had an incredible run to win 41 games in a row and 3 state championships. So I think you're kind of waiting for that time when it does happen. From a player's standpoint, it's a motivator. It's like, I don't want to be the one that is on the team where the streak ends. So that motivates you to work harder in practice and in the off season and want to continue this streak. Don't be fooled. Pella's good. They're ranked 3rd, and players at Pella tend to get better as they get older. They do a great job in their system. We've seen that, replacing seniors year after year with the next grade. I don't expect anything different. I think that they're going to be a solid team tomorrow, and it may be a little bit different looking Pella team in that they may go a little double tight ends, play a little more smash mouth power football rather than running around with Clayburg or throwing it up to their 6'5" wide receivers. You may see a little more bunched in. Well, here we go. We're going to play smash mouth football with you, a little old school probably.
Avery Van Zee is a key returner for them, and he's the kind of guy that will be able to carry the football, always important as well. Defensively, Oskaloosa took a little bit of a hit. Vincent Ramirez, who was going to come back as a returner. Vincent, you talk about this class of seniors that you got a chance to watch. When he was a freshman, he was a man among boys. He absolutely, you see some kids that just get to that point of athleticism just before their, peers do, from their teammates and their other school, counterparts, and he absolutely was that. He took his sophomore year off from playing football, really got into the CrossFit thing. He ended up being the fittest teen on earth in 2016, which is unbelievable to talk about. He competes in the CrossFit Games in 2017, and as he returns to football practice a couple days later, has a hip injury, probably out for the season, which eliminates Oskaloosa's leading tackler from the 2016 team, and the second leading tackler, Jack Moore, who was on the opposite side of the line from him, also gone. You have a couple of ball hawks, Seth Sarver, Bennett Sprite. They graduated. You have some really important key figures along the defensive line, namely Peyton Krause, for instance. He graduated. This defense has a lot of question marks, but If anybody knows Jake Jenkins, defense is where he makes his money. What are you expecting Oskaloosa to try to do to try to plug these holes from really elite level players that have either left via graduation or are dealing with injuries?
Well, first of all, we lost a lot. We lost 20 seniors, I think it was, and they were good players. So we've got to try to move on from that. At the scrimmage last week, I know that I was and the coaches were pleasantly surprised by our defense. We are a little bit undersized, so we have to swarm to the ball. We got to have numerous players around the ball. At practice last night, as a matter of fact, the coaches are really impressed with our new defensive line. They are comparing it already to last year's defensive line, which I was kind of like, whoa, that's a little step, a little early, but they are excited about the defensive line. Now, you're plugging in a couple youngsters that are going to play a role in that defensive line are going to be Kenny Satimi and then Keegan Butler are two guys right off the top of my head that are going to be in there along with Blake Van Veldhuizen, the All-Stater, and then on the ends you're going to have a junior and Nick Dykstra, who looked really good against Centerville, and then Jared Cruz will be at the other end, and Cruz picked off a pass for 6 points against Centerville. So those guys are pretty good along there. So it was nice to see the defensive line kind of taking shape, and they feel good about that part of it. A little bit of a question mark, in my opinion, would be at the linebacker position. We are not very big. Tanner's going to be inside. He's 5'10", 170 pounds. He's strong and he's quick and he gets a good read, but still trying to fight off 220-pound linemen when they get on you can be a test. We had a transfer come in, DJ Miles from Bettendorf, and he's an athletic kid. And he's looked good in practice. So he is filling in to Vincent's spot right now. Cole Kraber will be playing another linebacker position. And first of all, I don't know the starters. It's just some of the stuff that I see when I go out to practice. Cole Kraber will be playing at a linebacker. Casey Hill may see some time at linebacker. So you may see a little linebacker by committee in there. Keaton DeCock will be playing the Brave, which is kind of a hybrid between a safety and a linebacker position, depending on which formation Coach Jenkins wants to, or what defense he wants to run. Speaking of that, the guy runs a lot of defenses. They like to confuse you, and they're good at it. And so that's another thing to look for tomorrow night against Pella. He's not just going to sit there and let you run at the same thing. He's switching it up, whether it's with his blitzes, his cover 2, cover 3, or man-to-man. He's always thinking and trying to keep you off balance.
First thing that this reminds me of is maybe the no-name defense from back in the early 70s with Miami Dolphins. Just where's the name recognition? You don't really hear a ton of names that you heard from last year. Alex Young, who was one of the best in the state in terms of interceptions last year, is back at a cornerback position, and then your number 2 guy that you're thinking defensively was going to be Vincent Ramirez, and so hearing these names get plugged in, you're going to have to take a couple weeks, folks, to get used to these kind of names, because this is going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But as you said, defense is where Coach Jenkins makes his money. It's where Oskaloosa as a whole is going to keep themselves in these ball games. Week 1 being against Pella is going to be a little bit of a task, because Jay McKinstry, a long tenured head coach, over 20 years at Pella, he knows what he's doing as well, and it's going to be interesting to see what athletes that Oskaloosa sees. But this is going to be a quick turnaround. You played him week 1 last year and lost on the road. Then you played him on the road in the first round of the playoffs, and then you play him yet again in the first game of this season. These teams are seeing an awful lot of each other in a lot of sports, but football is no different, maybe even more than usual here. Third time in basically 1 calendar year they've seen each other on the football field. Does that play any level of factor with the coaching staff, especially just trying to confuse each other to the extreme, or do these two teams kind of approach this as we need to work on the stuff we want to be really good at, because all in all, while we want to win this game, we have to be ready for that district contest in week 3 and beyond when we try to really make a push to the playoffs?
Yeah. One thing real quick on the defense, at safety, Jaden Van Rukel is a big safety. He's kind of a Woodson, just a bigger guy back there. Should be able to help on run support. And Tucker Nunnikoven is back out, and I think he's got a chance at that other corner position to play there. So just to finish up the defense there, as far as changing, I think the really good high school coaches, your personnel dictates what you're going to do. And that's why I say I think Pella's personnel this year is different from previous years in that they probably feel like they need to come at you a little bit more and not be so fancy or running around, and they're going to play a little more power football. Obviously, Van Zee's a game breaker no matter where he's at, whether he's returning kicks, or whenever he touches the ball, he can zigzag and take it to the house. Their quarterback, Gustafson, is a quick kid also, but I think that McKinstry's not over there going, I'm going to trick Oskaloosa. He's like, this is what I got. This is what we're going to do, and let's see how it shakes out.
I'm sure he's very excited just to see what he has, to be honest.
Yeah.
In my conversation with him, he just seemed kind of curious to see how his team would look on the field, which, he knows what he's doing. He's 51-1 in the last 4 years, so I think he's very comfortable with that. Doug, sit tight. We're going to come back after a break, and we'll continue to talk Oskaloosa football with Doug DeCock, my broadcast partner on Friday nights on the No Coast Network. That'll be coming up right after this. Also on deck, we have Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont Activities Director Kurt Johnston. That'll be coming up on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Save big this week at Hy-Vee. Pepsi products, 3 12-packs, just $8.88. Gatorade or Propel 12-packs, just $2.99. Hy-Vee potato chips, only $1. Hy-Vee split chicken breasts, just 99 cents a pound. And buy 5 General Mills cereals, get $5 off. For these great deals and hundreds more, check out HyVeeDeals.com.
Welcome back here live on the Hy-Vee Homestretch. Emery Songer, joined by my broadcast partner for the Oskaloosa football games on the No Coast Network here in 2017, Doug DeCock. And we'll talk kind of about the broadcasts themselves in a little bit. We talked quite a bit about the defense before the break, talked about how it's kind of a no-name defense, not a lot of returners and a lot of difference makers that you may not hear the name too much in 2016 that you're going to hear quite a bit in 2017. So with that, now we're going to kind of flip to the other side of the ball, to the offense. And while Coach Jenkins is a defensive guy, plenty of guys that he works with and he wanted a part of his staff are good offensive guys. And it all starts up front. The big boy, Blake Van Veldhuizen, and his offensive line. A quarterback battle between Seth Howard and Cole Henry was basically inevitable from the end of last season when we knew Seth Howard was coming to Oskaloosa. Who's going to run the football? Some of the receivers, you lost most of your receiving core from last year. So much like the defense, a lot to ask about the offense, Doug. Let's start up front, though. When you have an all-stater like Blake Van Veldhuizen, Coach Jay McKinstry, that was the first name he said when I asked him about the Oskaloosa Indians. He is a great football player. What do you think of the offensive line as Oskaloosa is getting prepared for what shall definitely be a schedule where they're tested with big fronts each and every week of the season?
Well, they're sliding in all new guys here, basically, other than Blake. So they've done a good job. They looked okay in the scrimmage against Centerville. One thing at center, we have to replace John Hurl. And we have 2 guys battling for that position. One is a sophomore, and that's Blake's younger brother, Noah Van Veldhuizen. He looked very good against Centerville, and the other one is Hunter Else, is battling for time at that center spot. So those guys are intelligent guys. They're smart, and that's a key when you're at center. And so I feel comfortable with them guys being there. At the guards right now, looked to me at practice like they had Brant Brown running at one of the guards, and the other guard they had Nick Kuntz running at that guard. So those guys are the seniors. They've been there throughout year after year. Coots probably would have played quite a bit last year, but suffered a concussion and didn't see a lot of playing time. So he should be ready to go. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and that'll help our offensive line. The other tackle looks like Tucker Irwin is a big guy, and he's a sophomore. Will be at that other tackle. And he could be a force. Sometimes with Tucker, you got to kind of poke him and get him a little bit mad, but he's a big kid, and it should be fun to watch. I feel like the offensive line will progress throughout the year. They may be a little rusty here to start out. One thing about this offensive line is it's smart. Those guys up there are very intelligent players. They will make the proper calls. It's just going to take a little while to get a cohesive group going there. But I look for the offensive line to grow as the year goes along and get better and better.
Offensive line wise, you talk about the defensive line being impressive to the coaches to start out with, and we'll see how these athletes do. Very much the same thing. A lot of new names that people haven't seen, not really just in football, but in almost every sport. Unless you directly follow a lot of what Oskaloosa Athletics is doing at the varsity level and lower, if you're just looking at kind of the box scores and what's happening in these sports, these are names you do not know. So with that being said, there are plenty of names that you typically hear a lot at the skill positions, whether it be quarterback and at wide receiver and running back for Oskaloosa. Oski debuted a brand new offensive system with a lot of throwing with Ethan Arnold, the quarterback, last year. Kind of got him out of the pocket a little bit, allowed him to run, use a little bit of his mobility, but it was basically a passing attack. That means the quarterback position takes on an awful lot more responsibility in a system, and now a brand new quarterback is going to be out there on Friday. Coach Jake Jenkins has had an open competition for that basically since day one. I've talked to him a few times kind of with that, you know, as the main subject of our conversation, and he, at 0 point did he lean one way or the other specifically. But Doug, one thing that we can talk about is the fact that both these guys are tremendous athletes, in Cole Henry and Seth Howard.
Absolutely, and what a comforting thing as a head coach to have two really good quarterbacks, and I think you'll see both of them in the game at different times throughout the game tomorrow night. Seth transferred in from Grinnell. He's a very mobile quarterback. He had some incredible runs against Centerville running the ball. He's different than Ethan Arnold in that Ethan was more of a middle tackle-to-tackle kind of guy. He's going to get you 10, 15 yards going straight ahead. Seth can dart and dodge all over the field. His ability to step up in the pocket and then break it outside and do that also allows for a chance at big pass plays. So it will be important, number one, that Seth still keeps his eyes up as he's running out of the pocket, but that our receivers continue to move and find the open spot. The defense is going to have to swarm to Seth if he's in there at quarterback and try to stop him before he gets going, because he can run and he can make moves and he's powerful. On the other hand, Cole Henry, 6'7", it's totally different. He can run. Even though he's 6'7", he's more of an inside runner, and he's very effective getting in there. And what I like about Cole is he finishes runs off a lot of times too. He may be a skinny guy, 6'7", but he's got some power. When he throws the ball, it's almost as though he's throwing downhill. You probably 6'7" quarterbacks. I think of Dan McGuire. Wasn't he the Iowa guy? I think he was 6'7". So it's really kind of fun to watch. Cole's got a good arm, and both these guys, I'm confident with either one of those players in the game.
That's exciting because Coach Jenkins also said in my conversations, if we decide one guy's got that job, we might like to see the other guy doing something else. I know Seth Howard has spent time at the varsity level for Grinnell in previous years as a wide receiver, so a guy that can just handle the ball from almost anywhere. And then, of course, Cole Henry seemed at least he's more familiar with the system going into this year with a full year as a sophomore, being able to really work with the JV. A very good athlete. We can say that. Great heritage as well for Cole. With that being said now, who are these guys throwing the ball to? Because last year there was a whole host, a big handful of guys that were getting their hands on the ball and making big plays. The Bennett Spries of the world, the Ethan Keldermans of the world. I mean, I'm just going to continuously forget these guys because there were just so many of them that were big, important pieces to what the Oskaloosa offense was doing. Who was going to be receiving the ball and playing outside for the Indians here in 2017?
Well, just like on defense, it's going to be the same on offense. We got a lot of firepower to replace, and some of those guys you just mentioned, along with Jack. But some of the names that you'll see will be Tanner. I think he might be one of our leading receivers coming back this year. He had some nice games. He had a good game going against Pella and then suffered a concussion. In the first game, he had a nice game against Solon. So he played against some of the bigger teams and had some good games. Some other new faces, one that has emerged and we could see this happening last year at the JV level, is Alex Chapman. Alex Chapman would be in Kelderman's position from last year. Ethan Kelderman played, but Alex Chapman is a fantastic route runner. He's got pretty good hands, and he's got decent speed, so he's another guy to look for on the outside. Moving across the offense on the opposite of Alex Chapman will be probably Jared Cruz. So you got 6'5" Jared Cruz. You'll see him split wide a lot of times, and then with Tanner and Chapman. Calvin Silvers may see some time at a receiver position. Another one, and he did not play football last year, but he was a huge weapon when we were growing up, and he's back out this year, is Tucker Nunakoven. So Tucker will he will see action at one of those receiver spots, and he's a game breaker. He's an explosive guy. He runs hard, and he's going to be one to watch too if we can get the ball in his hands.
He was actually the quarterback on that freshman team that ran through their schedule. Him and Vincent were the leaders of that freshman team when they were freshmen back in 2014, which was such an exciting team to watch. But to see these guys in all sports making as big a name for themselves as they have has been very exciting for us to be able to follow. So the last thing that we need to talk about the offense is the backfield and the guys who are going to be kind of supplementing the passing game. You're going to have some semblance of a run game at the very least. What are you going to be seeing from that?
Well, we may have thrown it a lot last year. I don't think we're going to throw it as much as this year, even though we certainly can. We've got a very capable backfield, and Casey Hill is a powerful back. He is a strong kid. He's fast. He runs well inside the tackles, and he can break it out once he gets through the line of scrimmage. So he's going to be a guy to watch. He could have a really big season running the ball up the middle. The other thing, the guy who will give him get some time back there also is Tyler Miller. Tyler Miller's more of a game breaker. They like to get him on the edge. He's got pretty good hands catching the swing passes and maybe splitting him out a little bit and getting him the ball outside, so let him use his speed. Another guy that's going to run a lot when we talk, and it's not a backfield guy, but is going to be our quarterback, Seth Howard. They're going to run a lot of read option and duck him right in behind the back and let him go because he's an excellent runner.
All right, so you have all of these cats, a lot of new faces, a lot of new names. One name that people got themselves a little familiar with was an outstanding kicker and part of the kicking game that in high school ball, if you have a kicking game, good for you, because it just doesn't happen very often. And we saw some of the best kicks from a young man named Aaron Blom last year. What is not only that, but the punt unit as well, which Jack Moore and I believe Callan Tomlin kind of split the punting duties last year. What do you expect from the kicking game? Because Oskaloosa seems to be in as good a spot as anybody in terms of field goal kicking as anybody in our listening area for sure.
Well, and they still are. I mean, there was a little kicking competition last week, and I think Aaron hit a 42-yarder with ease. He missed a couple at 47, but he had the distance, so he's still going to be a weapon, obviously. That's not going to go away. Punting the ball is going to be Jaden Van Rukel, and when he hits it right, it's going to go. I've seen him growing up hit a couple 60-yarders, 60-plus yarders. So if he gets that thing to turn into a spiral, watch out. I felt like last year he probably could have been our punter. So I think we're going to be okay at the punting position also. Coverage, we got to make sure that special teams, third part of the game, we need to make sure that we win those special teams.
Oskaloosa's in a good shape to do that. We're going to wrap up our conversation talking about what our broadcasts are going to be like. And the first thing we need to mention is we are going to have the live audio, as always, on 99.5 FM and AM 740 KMZN. Then on RadioKMZN.com, MCG Channel 7, you're going to be able to watch live every single game this season at home with the help of the Oskaloosa Video Production Unit. I mean, we worked with these guys in the basketball season, and we're really excited. Great setup out there at the Lacey Recreation Complex, and those home games are going to be phenomenal. But also, Doug and I will be on the road, and it kind of depends. We're still kind of in talks with some of the schools about it, but we're hoping to get video on the road for all of the road games for Oskaloosa as well. It's a fun, and it's a very different feel when you're on video as well. But the Oskaloosa Video Production Group and, of course, MCG has has done so much to help us out and get this stuff up and running. And we're excited. This is the first football season. We've got a chance to work with these kids. And tomorrow night, I'm very excited to see how it all goes.
Yeah, that should be fun. I always enjoy watching the young guys at the Oskaloosa Video Production come and work the basketball games. It's a good experience for them, and I enjoy it, watching them guys and see them work behind the scenes. And I just once again think it's awesome that a high school team can be shown to their town live every Friday. You're not going to find that very many places.
That's certainly not anywhere in the state of Iowa, that's for sure. Doug, tomorrow night, you and me are on the call, 7 p.m. Oskaloosa takes on Pella at home. First game of the season. It should be very exciting. Doug, as always, my friend, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
All righty. Thanks, Emery.
All right, that's Doug DeCock. He is my broadcast partner each and every Friday night for the Oskaloosa football team. When we come back, we're going to talk about a different school that has an awful lot going on. Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont, their athletics director and activities director, Kurt Johnson, will be joining me next, right after this, on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Save big this week at Hy-Vee. Pepsi products, 3 12-packs, just $8.88. Gatorade or Propel 12-packs, just $2.99. Hy-Vee potato chips, only $1. Hy-Vee split chicken breasts, just 99 cents a pound. And buy 5 General Mills cereals, get $5 off. For these great deals and hundreds more, check out HyVeeDeals.com.
Welcome back. We are live from your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Just under a half hour left to come and get that fantastic dinner for just $5. And you have that until 7 p.m. Until then, you can listen to what we have to say about Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont sports. I am joined now by the activities director at Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont High School, Kurt Johnston. Kurt, thanks so much for joining us.
You bet. Thanks a lot for having me. This is great.
I have talked to several coaches that work under your watch.
Yep.
I've not had a chance to talk to you live on this show, but you've helped us out a lot. You call in reports. I have a good contact relationship with you as well when it comes to setting up for our broadcast of Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont sports. And your coaches are very nice about coming here. So getting a chance to talk to them, getting insights specifically into their programs are interesting. But I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit.
Okay.
First and foremost, let's talk about the beginning of the school year for an activities director. There's an awful lot at a small school like Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont. It feels like everybody has to pick up a little bit more of the load because of how small and close-knit the district is. So what are kind of the last couple of weeks of the summer like for you as you prepare not only for your sports seasons, but just for the school to come back as a whole?
Well, kind of a good thing for us anyway was the run that we made in softball. So we had that opportunity to be able to make it a nice long run there into the end of July. So try to get away as much as you can, but you have to love what you're doing. And so I had that opportunity to get right back in the office there the first part of August, and we get started back up. With us playing a week 0 football game too, we started practice July 31, and so it's kind of chaotic, making sure you get everything with bus schedules and with the way our district is set up, making sure transportation, that's a huge priority because we do have kids that are so far spread out. So, and then it's also a lot of the things just academically. I'm not just the athletic director, but as dean of students, we want to make sure that we also are getting our kids into the right classes, that we're helping them get them settled, and we've got a great number of new kids that have shown up there too. So just a lot of exciting things going on there to be a Rocket.
All right, so with the Rockets, you talked about the softball. Let's go ahead and go back to that.
Yeah.
Getting a chance to follow the softball team, one of my favorite coaches I get a chance to talk to and cover is Tony Fenton, and he's so great to us and helping us out, whether he does some commentary for some volleyball stuff. He also comes, we do his basketball games as well. Softball, second time in 4 years, state championship game. It's hard to describe that game. 16-inning game, the longest game in the 5-class era by innings, longest game in time in the 5 class era, and it just felt like it was going quickly until you realize how many innings you were playing. It's the longest game I've ever had a chance to broadcast, and so many great plays, both pitchers pitched very different games.
Yeah.
And then Eddyville goes ahead and then has it taken away from them at the end. Just a phenomenal game, but it was tough for the Rockets to kind of come out of that and feel like something good happened. I know the reflections happen now and another amazing season, but for the most part, this softball team has been, I don't want to say it like this, but the crowning jewel of all of the athletics that's been going on at Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont the last few years. What can you say about Coach Fenton and those girls and that run that they were able to make, and even that game specifically that will be in the annals for history forever?
Well, and you nailed it with a lot of those things. Just a great group of kids, led by a lot of seniors, 7, 8 seniors there that we had, and just the leadership that they provided, because there was a couple of times where we had some slumps throughout the year, and we did have high aspirations at the beginning, starting off ranked, second, and that's obviously where we ended up. But I think for those girls to lead them the way that they did, and again, that starts with the leadership at the top with Coach Fenton and the coaching staff that we have. So they did a good job of kind of bringing them back together. We had some injuries and other things. We had to move some people around, and it just gelled at the right time. And then to go through that game, I think signified a lot of what we saw in our season. You're battling back and forth, and their pitcher is, she was dominant early, just striking out everybody, but what I thought our kids did a good job of is they were taking her deep in the count. She got tired. We finally didn't get that opportunity to capitalize in the 16th. And it's one of those things where at the end of the game, I think everybody emotionally is just so drained that they really didn't know whether, and I felt like Regina was the same way. They probably weren't as high as they probably would have been if it was a 7-inning game, and we probably weren't as low. It's really taken enough time for them now, just a couple weeks later, to finally have it sink in. So, it's unfortunate it went against either team, but it's something that, I'll definitely remember, because those things just don't come along very often.
Or ever, honestly.
Ever, 16-in game just does not happen.
When you think about it, a school like Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont to make multiple appearances in the state championship game. Now, Regina, they've won it the last couple of years. They've been in the state championship game for the last 3 years. But if you look at Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont, the 2 years in between their state championship game appearances, they were knocked out by either the team that won state or they were in the region that's the team that won state. So, great job of scheduling and great performance by these girls. A lot of girls to replace, but Coach Fenton's going to have these girls ready to go for next year, and he feels very good, obviously, about the girls that he has coming in. So with the summer sports season that has been able, and new coach Tom Hallgren did a great job kind of helping turn the Rocket baseball program around. Man, you go from 2 sports that, it feels chaotic when just those 2 are going, and now you start the school year, school started, we got to get all these kids figured out academically, we got to get them all in the right classes, everybody's got to show up, we got to get transportation right, football, cross country, volleyball, all of this stuff that is happening in the fall season, it's tough to manage. So let's just start with the moneymaker sport, football. Team, Brian Keeler back for head coach, and you talk about that week 0 game, which unfortunately went against the Rockets, but you can see the improvement on the field and still what is collectively a very young team for the Rockets in 2017. Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of young, at the skill positions, a lot of juniors that are in those positions with a lot of experience coming back from last year. The big key was, were we going to be able to replace some of those linemen that we had? We had a big group of seniors that were a lot of linemen, and I think that's some of the things that we just have to figure out as the year goes along. But I was really happy to see, we came out on top, we punch it in early, we get that opportunity to be able to score, and we had a couple of bigger mistakes, I think, than East Marshall had that really were the deciding factor in that game, but we didn't quit. I think character's been a big thing that our coaching staff's done a good job with, and they played, they drove it. East Marshall happens to score late in the game. We take the kickoff, we march 2-minute offense, we march right down, and we've got an opportunity to be able to, if we recover the onside kick, to be able to take the lead. So just that opportunity to at least put us in those spots, and I think that's like I said, that's a good sign for what we have as far as character kids, but also our coaching staff that are teaching that each day.
Coach Keeler came in, it wasn't super easy to find a guy to coach this for multiple years. You see with a lot of smaller schools, you have the 25-year guys every 5 schools you look at, and then the other 4 schools of that group every 2 or 3 years seemingly having to find a guy. What do you like about Coach Keeler and his passion for the program that I can clearly tell when I have him on my show and he's just spouting all this stuff that he's really excited about? What about him makes him such a great coach for the Rockets?
Well, one, he's able to relate to the kids. You know, he's one of those, you don't want to necessarily label him as a player's coach, but definitely the players relate to him. They respect him. You know, they'd run through a brick wall for him. And I think that's because they know all that extra time that he puts in the summer. This summer, guys, she was down there early in the morning, lifting weights, but it wasn't just for football guys. He was there with the girls, helping them with lifting, junior high. They're past 12, 1 o'clock when he was getting there at 5:30 every morning. So the students, they know that passion that he's putting into it, and they know that we've got to be able to do that to be able to compete year in and year out, because you're going to have those special players that are good athletically, but you've got to be able to develop everybody, and that's the one thing that he's really worked hard on doing.
This team that Eddyville is going to be throwing out there, this is a district that, when you look at it, in just in terms of X's and O's and football teams standpoint, last year it was a pretty wide open district.
Right.
PCM ended up kind of running away with it, and I think smart money is PCM's probably going to run away with it again. But that second spot, that second automatic playoff berth, is just hanging out there waiting for somebody to grab it. Central Lee, I don't know how many people that they have coming back they feel super confident with. I don't think they're going to be as good, and they were clearly one of the better teams. Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont got a chance to grow, and they know these schools very well. Another chance to play a very similar schedule to last year outside of your week 0 game. So there's still a lot of optimism that this could be a playoff year for the Rockets. What do you see from that with this particular ball club, knowing that they've played teams like Sheraton and beat them, but they also can play some of these other teams like Albee are very tough this season? What is your diagnosis of this particular district and the Rockets' chances to make the playoffs?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. PCM, I think, is by far the favorite to win again this year. They dominated the district last year, and they've got a lot of good players coming back. But outside of that, it's really up to see who's going to be able to grab that second spot. Last year, Central Lee, they graduated, though, a lot of seniors. Their numbers are a little bit down, just as what we're looking at for JV squad. So we're thinking that maybe we can slide in there. Centerville did qualify as an at-large spot, so they've got a lot of good players coming back. But I really feel like we're one of those teams that has an opportunity to be able to sneak in there, and it's just a matter of showing up each Friday. And the nice thing is, I think our non-district games help to prepare us with that. We decided to take on this 10th game, and it really worked out well for us. We did have to go on the road. We unfortunately didn't win it. But I like where we go then this Friday. We go to Pleasantville. Next week we have Sigourney Keota, 2 playoff teams from last year. And both of those teams have some good players coming back. So I really like the schedule that we've set up to help us prepare for district play. And I think we're going to be able to have opportunities to be successful once we get into that.
And we do have that Sigourney Keota game as our game of the week for next week. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you can stay tight here. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more EBF sports. We've got some other sports to talk about, not just the football team. When we come back with the activities director of Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont, Kurt Johnston, right here on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy, with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Save big this week at Hy-Vee. Pepsi products, 3 12-packs, just $8.88. Gatorade or Propel 12-packs, just $2.99. Hy-Vee potato chips, only $1. Hy-Vee split chicken breasts, just 99 cents a pound. And buy 5 General Mills cereals, get $5 off. For these great deals and hundreds more, check out HyVeeDeals.com.
We're back here live on the Hy-Vee home stretch, and once again joined by Activities Director of Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont High School, Kurt Johnston. And we were talking football, and we'll talk about the game of the week that you guys will be hosting in a little bit. But we talked about the crowning jewel right now kind of being the softball program. They kind of took the baton from the volleyball team. Coach Gladys Jinsko always has a very competitive volleyball team, and when the likes of Carly Taylor and Taylor Leffler were a part of the program, Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont was a frequent occurrence for them to get to a regional final and make it to state. Right now, state is a tough get for really any of our area schools, but you cannot count an EBF volleyball team out. So still some good athletes that are back for this year's ball club. Do have some holes to plug, but Coach Jinsko probably feels pretty good once again about her chances to compete in the South Central Conference.
Well, again, you talk about Coach Keeler and the passion he has for his sports and the kids, and it's the same thing with Coach Jinsko. We're very fortunate to have someone of her coaching ability and her dedication. This is, I believe, her 18th year at the helm, and her leadership has really taken us to the next level. And the other thing, too, we're moving up to Class 3A. We've been there, and it's really our conference. So you know what you're going to compete against most likely going into those the regional play. And it's wide open. We had some scrimmages there last Saturday at our place. I was really pleased with what we saw. I think we had a lot of tough area teams there with Oskaloosa and some others being down there. And to really see how those young kids that are, again, their names may not be familiar, but I think the effort and the quality of play, you're going to still see that. And we'll get tested early, we're playing this evening down at Fairfield, so open it up with good competition down there with Fairfield and Albia. They then go to West Branch this weekend. West Branch is always traditionally very good. And we'll open up, we've got Pella Christian here next week already. So we're going to kind of find out where we sit area-wise, and like I said, I hope teams will be one team to maybe reckon with.
What's fun about that is the fact that it seems like every sport EBF has probably the toughest schedule game for game from anybody in every sport that we could possibly think of. So one that you schedule courses, not necessarily opponents, is cross country. And in the fall, cross country is a very big sport. We do have a lot of successful teams in cross country around our listening area. It's not really a sport that gets a lot of love and a lot of discussion. So you could even go through the 101 for EBF cross country and kind of how you guys approached that one as you guys tried to compete once again this year.
Well, and that's the big thing, with right now, one of the things that we're trying to do is just help to grow that program. And Coach Jerry Rimpey has done a great job with that. One of the things that we've tried to do is just increase numbers. And so right now we're sitting at about 40 kids that are out, and that's great to see those numbers. And over the last several years, not only have we increased numbers, but I think our quality has then gone up as well, too. They're getting more mileage in the summer and being able to then compete. And I think the other thing, you talked about making it a spectator sport. One of the things that from a long time ago, Coach Whitfer, former retired teacher and coach, he started a cross-country meet right there at the high school. Little unique being there, but it's a great kind of spectator sport. One of the things that we do that maybe other schools don't is we actually finish the last 100 meters on the track. So you've got people that are gathering in a grandstand. It's got a little bit more of that feel. You can use the mic to maybe call out names as people are coming in. So you just try to bring more of that excitement because, like you said, you just don't have that opportunity to showcase those athletes maybe as much as what you would for volleyball or football.
Cross country, always a tough sport to kind of put your finger on about how to make kids better or how to even describe some of it and some of the strategies. They had the Oskaloosa cross country coach Mike Comfort in here, and he did his best to try to explain what they're looking for. And it's when you understand it, you realize how cool of a sport it is, and it does not take long to run that course. It goes by pretty quickly, and some of the courses, like your course, very unique and very fun to be a part of. Some of the other programs Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont has to offer, one of the more impressive ones over the years has been the music program. And Joe Overton and that entire department just churns out great jazz band, great marching band, just great music in general. Marching band season upon us, and for a lot of parents, it's marching band season, not necessarily football season. So what can you say about the music programs and what we're going to see from the Rockets on the field? Because that is a full season for them as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, and the biggest thing at any smaller school is you've got to have not only multi-sport athletes, but they need to be involved in a lot of different activities. And what I've always appreciated most about Coach or Mr. Overton was that he treats it like a coach. You know, he's there early in the morning. Those expectations are high. The students have then taken on that ownership with their sections and how they lead it. And it's really kind of a family affair. You know, we sometimes with wrestlers, you talk about how they're at those Saturday tournaments and they really get that bond of being around each other. Well, it's that same way when you go to a marching band competition. They're spending a lot of time on those Saturdays around each other. And so it's a lot more fun when you have all those people then helping out. The band boosters that they have is just wonderful. And so we put a pretty good product out in the field at halftime. When the football team, you know, they're putting forth the best effort, but then we turn around halftime, nobody leaves. They don't get up and go to the concession stand. Everybody's there to see what kind of a show we're going to put on. And that's one of the comments that you get from a lot of opposing teams too is, hey, we can't wait to get to Eddyville to see what they're going to show at halftime. So look forward to having you guys come down here to Sigourney to see what, when Sigourney comes to town, what kind of a show they put on.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to figure that out. Before we move on and talk about that, are there any other things that are going on here in the next couple of months that maybe we haven't talked about that you would like to highlight?
You know, there's lots of different activities. You know, I just think about tonight as always, even coming up, you know, you're talking about marching band. Gosh, tomorrow they're doing an all-day marching band practice to help them to prep for that first home game. We've got youth football that's going on. We've got archery signups. Archery has really grown at our school in the last couple of years with some students that are also participating at the national level. So I think that's one thing that makes a successful school is you've got to have a lot of opportunities, but then when they do have those opportunities, they have to be coached well. And you aren't just going to throw it out there to be fluff. You really want it to be quality, and I feel like that's one of the things that we've been really successful with doing.
Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont just has a very nice feel about it. So many things that do have good numbers, and we're excited to showcase that next week. Our first game of the week tomorrow night, as can be heard on 104.9 FM KBOE and KBOEradio.com, is actually the two biggest schools in our area, Newton at Ottumwa. Ottumwa, a brand new football field at the Schaefer Stadium, brand new turf field. It's going to be beautiful, and Kylie Broadway will have the action for you on KBOE. But the next week, EBF gets to host Sigourney Keota, a couple of area teams that have a nice little rivalry going on. The Rockets going to be looking to try to get a home win. What can we expect from the Rockets, and what should people be excited about when the Rockets host Sigourney Keota next week?
You know, it really has been. You know, Sigourney, their last couple years before we redistrict, we were in the same district, and so we were having kind of a back and forth rival where we'd win one year, they would then take one from us. You know, the tradition that Sigourney Keota has had, I don't think it's in this area. Everyone's familiar with the type of tradition that Coach Howard built up over those years. But we were able to go over there and steal one. I think when we took one on their homecoming, that was the first time in, I think, 25, 30 years that they had been beat on a homecoming night. So those are one of the things that you remember, they stick out to you. But it also starts to build a little bit of a rivalry. You know, that we were seeing those kids in the wrestling mat, even though we're not in the same conference. The kids now, the way that they connect with Facebook and Snapchat and how they really get to know each other outside, those kids start to build that rivalry themselves. So I look forward to being a very competitive game when they come down.
Well, Kurt, thanks so much for joining us. We can't wait to have that happen on our airways on KBOE next week, and we can't wait to see what happens. We'll have to have you come back on maybe halfway through the season and see how everything's going.
Sounds great. Thanks, Emery.
That is Kurt Johnson, Activities Director at Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont High School, and that will wrap up our show here at the Hy-Vee Homestretch. Quick reminder, next week, of course, we'll have another Hy-Vee Homestretch, 6 p.m. here from your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. But this week, be sure to check it out. Oskaloosa football against Pella on 99.5 FM and AM 740 KMZN. Live video stream on RadioKMZN.com and MCG Channel 7. The game of the week, Newton at Ottumwa on 104.9 FM KBOE and KBOEradio.com, starting at 7 o'clock for both of those games. And then on Saturday morning, be sure to check out, I guess, Saturday afternoon around 12:45 p.m. as William Penn is in Baldwin City, Kansas for their season opener against second-ranked Baker to start their season. Be sure to check that out on 99.5 FM and AM 740 KMZN and RadioKMZN.com as well. That'll do it for us. I'd like to thank Kurt for joining us. Kurt Johnson, the AD over at Eddyville-Blacksburg Fremont High School, and my broadcast partner on Friday nights, Doug DeCock, for joining us to talk Oski football. You've been listening to and watching the Hy-Vee Homestretch live right here on the No Coast Network.